helped me realise if you've got arthritis and you struggle being able to play chess, you can survive life quite nicely by sitting on a Swiss ball or a yoga ball. And throughout this video you might see me bouncing around. However, it doesn't mean that people with nervous dispositions or ADHD or any sort of reason why they can't sit still cannot enjoy this wonderful board game. Alright? So, if you work at it, if you stay strong, one day you will be able to challenge people of a strength that make you happy, that make you proud. And it's not necessarily once you hit 2,000 or anything like that. There's no magic number that can make you good enough to be able to challenge people of this level. Okay? It just needs to come from you, from years of practice and enthusiasm and passion for chess. So today we're going to learn about the Petrov defense, and this is supposedly one of the most drawing lines you can possibly make as black in chess. It's extremely preferable for those sorts of players that like to go into endgames or equal positions, and it maintains an equal position throughout the opening, throughout the middle game, and you go into an endgame fairly quickly, or at least that's what the Petrov player typically as the black pieces is hoping for. So we're still following the Masters database here. What's going to happen is this very common idea where the knight is pushed back, and now black does have a couple of choices. The most common one is they're also going to capture this pawn. So if you see that sequence, once you've captured in the centre and you're kicked back, you're now facing losing this pawn. Naturally that happens. We're still following Magnus Carlsen, Fabio Caruana, so you know this is a good game. Now you have options. You can pin this knight to the king, which does entice this. There are many ways people can blunder. There's an infamous game where Vishwanathan Anand played a bishop out to try and protect this knight at one point, which sadly failed to a tactic of a knight landing here when a queen was there, meaning that at some point this knight got pinned. Okay, the world champion lost in the opening, so it's really good not to overcomplicate it, but at lower levels you might enjoy this. It forces one of these pieces in front, and naturally it'll be the queen because the bishop wouldn't protect the knight. So, here is a move if you don't mind endgames. The trouble with this move is once they've done this, and WGM Adriana Nikolova pointed this out to me because I like to keep my queen on in this attack. Once they've done this, you're not forcing black to trade, but they always have the option. And although the computer might prefer this position for white ever so slightly, or you might prefer this position as an aggressive player and start getting lots of action in nice and early, firing everything at this piece, it seems to be more active. You always usually have a chance of trading back and equalising the pawn structure in this endgame as well. Kramnik and Caruana have been here. Again, there are plenty of Masters games that are in this line. There is absolutely nothing wrong, but as you can see, the majority are draws. Now, if you don't want a very drawish game, as WGM Adriana pointed out to me, you might want to avoid putting the queen here early, and instead of this, play knight c3 immediately. Okay? So, Magnus Carlsen, Fabiano Caruana. Fabiano took the knight in this position, as did my opponent, who was an Italian Fide master, retired respectfully. And just to point out, our score is 2.5 to 8.5 in his favour. He's currently playing. Wonderfully strong character. The 2.5 games we played, this is the most decisive win. And one of the games, he did actually completely destroy me in the endgame of this. So, quick review with my first coach, WGM Adriana, and we achieved this sort of position instead, where the queen isn't here early and it's not being traded off. Now I'm starting to get what I want. Now I'm entering the positions that I know I can win, where I've beaten national masters before. Knight c6, queen e2, transposition into the position I was expecting. Regardless of what this says, I've played this position enough times to know that this is exactly what I want. The bishop comes out, which gives me an indication black wants to go that way, and that's exactly what I'm looking for as well. Castle's long, castle's long. So the pair of us have committed. Our kings are now on the c-file, although I fancy my pieces to be more active and better placed for the situation. Queen b5, the start of the chess riddle attack in the Petrov defense. This is the move you want to play. I like to do it once I've castled long. I do not like to do it with my king still on the e file. This is where you want to be. If you achieve this position with both kings on the c file, this setup, exactly, queen here is the start of the attack, and you will transpose into this in a few different ways. Now, life's fantastic, and the majority of tricks and traps revolve around that pawn being pushed, which, by the way, is almost always a mistake. There is virtually never a good time to push that pawn in this line, alright? For example, that makes our life better immediately, yeah? And there are lines where this comes, and if you notice, this is actually hanging with check. I've seen people miss that, afraid of this, and I've had people just play king here and hang a bishop. People can get distracted by that, and if takes, you've still got the same sort of ideas. You're threatening to capture this pawn, and if takes back, you recollect this knight for free. Okay? So these sorts of ideas are in the position if you see that move earlier. If they play knight here, whoops, if they play knight here, now, queen c4, I think the computer just, queen a4, the computer spat out again. It wants to come back down here. Although I have worked on a trick and a trap in this line, because if you look very carefully, you see that shoot up? Yeah. All you need to do is follow the pattern of moves. Expect it here. You can also expect it here, once you've made your move. Yeah. And if they don't play it here, to get to my point, yeah. c5, not the move I like, not the move I'm aiming for. I think most players don't go into this line purely because of this. They see this and they get this far and they don't like the idea of it. This is an idea. You want to leave this file free to bring rook over once you've ripped this hole. The queen controls this square quite importantly as well from this sort of position. And although c5 is the recommended move, I don't see it. I never see this move. It doesn't come in. It just doesn't feel normal. Nobody gets this far and allows that. That best move just never, ever, ever, ever gets seen. The only move you typically see in this position is this. And it's the same plan. Bishop takes a6. Alright? So in the actual game, now he finds the best move here. Alright? Important part of the lecture. Hopefully I haven't bored you to death. This is where it gets juicy. This is where it gets entertaining and fun. This is where you need to get creative and where years of experience and arguably just not caring has come in. There have been plenty of times where I've played moves like this where a computer has evaluated it as not working. Hello Sledgehammer! Welcome in. It will be your game that comes on next, by the way. So thank you for that. What are you suggesting? Bishop h3 and queen a7? Before when there was a gap? Yeah. Bishop h3 was a move that I've played before and like the look of and used to play. Throwing that check in. Yeah, definitely. We can go through that again in a sec. This line here, you're going to find something now. I have shared this in our group chat, in Adriana's chat, so you might have got here before. Now, it's white to move, if you haven't already had a quick look. In a line where black takes an f3, yeah. So it's white to move in this position, if you can remember it for a second. We'll come back. Okay, so takes. We're waiting for this to ever be played by anyone. It just doesn't get played, alright? If this comes, that's tempting. That's hugely tempting, but it's not as good as this. It just isn't as good as that. It's not a bad move, but you're not exploiting the blunder of the position. That is a huge, huge blunder, and your light squared domination becomes unstoppable. If you get to keep your light squared bishop, like I do in my game, you'll understand why. So, bishop takes rook. Don't get distracted from your original plan, alright? This looks like it's hanging, this looks like it needs recapturing. Ooh, panic. White to move. What do we play? What do we play? For those eagle-eyed viewers that are on YouTube, I will be blanking out the moves at the appropriate time. Bishop a6. Bishop a6 here. Not a bad idea, I don't think. It keeps the position very Mark-esque, doesn't it? It's a very banned move. If you've got no other ideas and you're committing to this sort of attack. I like your idea in the sense that you think you still need to move forward and hang another piece. It is arguably going to be one of the moves, but try and think a little bit deeper, a little bit smarter. What else can you do? What else could you do? Maybe with one of your pieces that's already hanging, and think about a relative square it can land on. Danger levels, as Mr. Rosman the Bat would put it. Danger levels. How can you create danger levels? Currently, we've got a knight threatened and we're threatening a bishop. I reckon we can threaten two more major pieces with one good-looking, amazing, unbelievable, triple exclam, banned in the face looking move, which I'm hoping gets this game, Lee Chess Game of the Month in February. In this position, you must find knight c6 in the face. Looking for. That's the banned move that just could not have been played, but it got played. Now the Italian FM is starting to think. His assessment of this position might not necessarily be +5. He might not know that he's losing. This is the beauty of these sorts of positions. This man ripped me apart in an endgame. You can tell he's played far more chess than I have in my life, and he's far better at it in its entirety. This is just one good game through an aspect of chess that I happen to have worked on over many, many years. I like to make the positions confusing like this. I like to have pieces hanging. I like to ask opponents, do you care to calculate in this position, or do you want to go off instinct? And these sorts of positions, if you can find them and work them out with a computer in modern day technology, you can work on some really deep, fantastic ideas that can beat masters. I'm only 13 moves into a Petrov, and this has never been played. And it's wonderful. And it's hopefully inspirational. Anyone can do this. If you're about 1650 in strength or higher, you can achieve this against people 2400 and under. Asking it of a grandmaster is extremely tricky. But for people 2400 and under, yeah, you can do this. Anyone can do this. So, in the position, interestingly, does everybody know what happens if this comes? Can everybody see the idea? Which pawn do we take? If they do take, what's the plan? Why did it work? Why is it a good idea to have put a knight there in the first place? We've just lost a knight, right? This is still there. What do? Do we take this with check? Queen c6 and bishop a6, he says, on the money. You've got the right idea now. Now we've created this umbrella. Now we've got other pieces that can come swarming in. Now he hasn't got time to save his bishop, because if you look carefully, that would be the only move. And everybody's happy with that sequence. But I think if you let a computer work, it would likely tell you this is mate in, let's say, 15. What we're saying? +8 for that, +9, +10. It's a race. We're off to the races. +11, +12. 12's in the lead. We've got more than that. We've got better than that. Depth 22. I'm sure we can do better than that. +13. This has to be forced mate. This must be forced checkmate. Don't think anyone would be taking that knight. It's hard to guess a rating range where people would take that knight. I think it'd be less of a rating range thing and more of if you've annoyed your opponent enough so they don't care to calculate, then they'll take it. Or if they don't respect your attack or themselves in any way, shape or form, then they'll take it. If they've got a brain and they can sense danger, they should not be taking that. Okay, rook e8. Rook e8 is the top suggested move. and I can't really see how that helps life too much. That number might still go up. Could have let it work. But you'll get the idea. From a practical perspective, bishop a6 check is going to be the next move, isn't it? And yeah, it's completely devastating. King d8. And if you let this work enough, it will eventually spit out a forced checkmate, I'm sure of it. Oh, I saw a 96. Yeah. Realistically, what can you do? What can you do? What would you want to do here as black? Hey, it finally did it. Right, I was hoping the computer would do it a bit quicker. I might even edit that bit out. So if it's mating 16 here, and the last two moves were forced, mating 16, and everything from there looked pretty forced, didn't it? Rook e8 only move, if you want to stop this being checkmate, comes in anyway. Mating 17, right. Computer eventually catches up with the idea. Although it should be unbelievably obvious to a player that you're winning. Yeah? The sequence in itself might be somewhat confusing. But realistically, the idea behind knight c6 in the first place means you're a player competent and confident enough that you're going to end up in a position like this, and you know that you've got forced mate on the board. Thank you, Sledge. It is quite nice. It's nice to know how to navigate these pieces. This bishop's effectively out of the game. It's not doing anything useful there, and we don't need to capture it. We just need to use all our pieces extremely well. I'm pretty sure, right, even if you panicked here and you wanted to trade queens, you're still completely winning. If you think about what's left at the end of everything, if you just panicked here, if you couldn't figure out what else to do, and you panic here, you're still huge. You're still huge. Alright, if everything gets a bit too scary, Cooper's colour chart kicks in. We'll quickly look at that. Don't forget this, never forget this. Alright? If you don't know, Colonel Cooper's colour code. If you want to look it up in your own time, I won't bore you to death with it in this. But these are the mental states that you can be in while you're playing chess. Yeah, as you sit down to play a game, you're typically what's known as in the yellow. Relaxed, prepared, aware, good situational awareness. If you've ever felt yourself shaking at the board or panicking, that's you going into the black. Yeah? Where you're not effective, where you can't play, where your rating suddenly becomes 300 elo and you find the worst move. Yeah? That's being in the black. White is when you think, any move wins, I can't lose, and we've all seen what happens when you think like that. Yeah? You sit back, I've won this game, he should be resigning. Whoops, you've blundered, checkmate. So, yellow, orange and red are where you want to be at all given times. Staying in the red for too long is impractical. You'll burn yourself out and end up in the black. Yeah? You cannot maintain full force being in the red forever. So drift between the yellow and orange, identify potential threats ready to act. As your danger levels go up, you need to go into the red, realise it, deal with it and come back into the orange. Rather than keep attacking, neutralise the position. The point I'm saying this is, mate in 16 is asking a lot of people. Okay? If you find mate in 16 confidently and you get every single move precise, there's a small chance you're going to get banned, isn't there? Because that's what modern day people are like. They won't believe that you've been able to execute it that accurately. So it's an extremely human idea to eventually end up trading queens with the king somewhere over here. And then realistically, these pawns are quick anyway. Yeah? Don't panic too much. As long as you get the idea of the attack and you achieve this sort of position and you understand the power of these outside passed pawns, once you've neutralised and equalised the position, everything's fine. You don't necessarily need to. If you've got the discipline, calculate this all the way to mate. Yeah? Try not to use the computer, and from this sort of position, you know, within 13 moves and best play, you've got checkmate on the board. And with good discipline, you will likely find this. Yeah? My instincts are telling me that's the move, or that's the move. Queen f4. So, like I say, discipline in these sorts of positions. I like that square being protected. You can't move anywhere other than there. And if you want to take this back as your next move at some point in the sequence, It might be part of the mating sequence, but you always need to think, what does black play? If your move that you play in a sequence isn't a forcing move, which forces one of a couple of moves, for example, that's one of them, yeah, that would be another one. You can work out each legal move they have off your forcing moves. But a move like this, which introduces lots of variables, people get too lazy and they don't want to calculate it within the checkmating sequence. Alright? This is where that panic comes from. This is when you start to go from the red into the black because things become too difficult. You're taking too many bullets. You can't deal with something that complicated in the yellow or the orange. You have to switch on. You have to start taking action. High alert. Actively engage in emergency response. Checkmate is on the board. Heart rate goes up. Excitement goes up. I'm against a Fide master. What do I do? You try and keep calm and carry on. That's the truth of it. And if you've been in these sorts of positions before, even if it's inaccurate, stay calm, don't lose. Keep finding good moves, alright? Keep finding good moves that work. I'd like to bet this is perfectly fine, right? That would be repeating. Computers do occasionally do that. That looks enticing, but that looks like you're giving the king more escape squares, doesn't it? In blitz games, I often need too much time to calculate. That's why I often play instinctively in blitz games. Yeah, instinct's good. Instinct can help you throw mating patterns though, can't they? So to develop those instincts, playing these positions out, regardless of how long they take you, will develop better instincts. You'll see certain patterns. There obviously fails to this, which is why I'm talking about doing this first. But here's where you want to go, isn't it? Here's where you want to go. Your brain tells you here's a check that's forcing him to not go up there. You've already got this covered. You need to fight these urges. You need to calculate. You need to stay sensible. You don't want to repeat. But what do you do here? Can you find a good move? It's likely this. But the trouble is, your brain doesn't want to calculate all the possible moves that come next. It seems scary. You might just start taking valuable major pieces. Yeah, here's another move that looks quite good. The worst thing is to get flagged in a winning position. Yes. So simplifying again in a winning position may also be the key. If you know you can play and you've got enough time to win an endgame with what you've got left, and you're skilled at endgames, that's a route. If you get skilled at checkmating your opponent, this is another route. Yeah? I'm extremely, extremely tempted to play this move. And then likely this move. What I'd really like in life is this rook to come here. The king doesn't actually have to move anywhere. So I don't want to waste time taking this bishop. I want to create an immediate threat. For example, he's got an escape square here, but this looks devastating. And when you stop and absorb the position, you can start evaluating things a bit more like this. Yeah? And it doesn't matter how good your opponent is. As long as you're in a position where you know you're winning and you've only got yourself to throw it away. Bishop d2, rook e1. Right, so these are the sorts of moves, aren't they? We're getting on the right sort of train of thought of the computer now. It's not a check, alright? It's not a check. It's not a queen move. Ah, relax. Now I've come out of the red and into the yellow during a lecture. I can explain this. I'm calmer in these positions. Now my mental mood is better. My tone of voice has changed. While I'm in the moment and I've got no time, I'm panicking, I'm struggling, I'm looking for moves and I find that one. Ah! It happens, we've all been there. And it doesn't matter what strength you are, that can happen to you at any given time. So, from knight c6, should we do this anyway? Yeah. Queen e5 plus 6-5. Not hard to lose a mating sequence there, is it? Where did we get the queen trade? Here. King f6, queen f4 check, king e6, rook e1. This was going to be one of the moves, wasn't it? Queen c4 check. So we're back on this now, stopping and going that way and that way. Nice. I'd expect this. I wouldn't expect king f5. In this position you're going to see that more often than not. Bishop d2 check here. Boom. Right. So yeah, that's definitely something I need to do in my own time and actually thoroughly enjoy, because if you sit around and you find these moves in a mate and 8 sequence, the satisfaction it can give you, and then if you remember the sequences by the time you hit playing an FM, therefore you can stay in the yellow throughout the entire game and throughout this sequence and feel more comfortable in these positions. You become a much better chess player regardless of elo, and you'll watch your rating just naturally go up in all departments. So practice one positions rather than just your mating patterns. Practice one positions up to the point of forced checkmate, then practice the mating patterns with stockfish. I'll open a new tab very quickly and just show you that I do it. I actively practice against stockfish in positions where there's forced checkmate just to stay fresh. Alright? And I will discuss how to checkmate an FM in 13 moves with bad chess after this lecture and after Sledgehammer's game. So, stick around for that. But, yeah. If you get scared at some point and you're trying to bring yourself out of the black and you know you're finding a move that's still winning anyway, if this stops you from panicking, if this stops you from throwing the game and playing this move by mistake, do it. If you know it'll calm you down, you know it's still winning, just do it. And there's no shame in it, alright? Because everybody's human. Everybody can fall into the black. Everybody can fall into the white. It's our own fault through a lack of discipline if we fall into the white. But everybody, through their own endorphins and brain chemicals and through their natural experiences in life, will have experiences where you go into the black. There will be things that make you panic. It won't necessarily mean because you get scared of things, or it's usually because of overexcitement, or you respect your opponent too much. Yeah? That's when you'll put yourself in the black. You'll put yourself in the white when you don't respect your opponent at all. If they're rated 400 elo and you're not caring. Yeah? So that's the whole point of that. And if this takes you out of the black, calms you down, puts you in that working range of yellow, orange and red, and now I can comfortably just find the moves that keep me in the red. I'm down in exchange, but I'm huge. I've got a million passed pawns. I've got a bishop pair. I'm comfortable in this position. That's fine. If that's who you are, that's fine. Don't worry about it, okay? Back to the main line. So that's what to do if pawn takes the knight on c6 once you've achieved this wonderful position. And there's a lot there to even discuss. I think I've discussed that for about 20 minutes. This game is so rich. That was the first tactic. Now it gets even better. Now it gets even better. Does that work? I haven't got the computer on. Do you think that works, ladies and gentlemen? I'll tell you it does. It's lovely. It's lovely to think that this is hanging, this is hanging, this still isn't collected. It's completely crushing. Yeah? What do you do? You've got options. This looks like it could still be a thing, doesn't it? Yeah? What happens if he takes here? What happens if he takes here? It's a 3-in-1 game. I have flagged him before. But if you were black, what would you do here? What would you do facing this? Is white winning? Are you having a good time? Are you getting more and more annoyed? Have you got that warm fuzzy feeling? Are you in the yellow? Were you in the white when white started attacking? Were you paying full attention? Did you respect this attack from Queen b5? Did you even sense the danger? No, because if you did, you wouldn't have played a6. That's the whole point. Once you see a6, you know what state of mind someone's in. They're starting to worry about the king, and they're getting it wrong. What did we say about what happens if someone makes a blunder, and you can punish it with a Mike Tyson punch in the face? They're going to blunder again. Yeah? If they're in the white, and you've hit them with something that makes them think, I've got to think really, really quickly. I've got to switch into the red. I've got to calculate this. I don't know if I'm winning or not. This is actually scary. And they're not prepared for it. You have such a mental edge over your opponent. You can be boosted by about 1,000 elo. In that exact moment, for the next few moves, and over the next minute, you have a mental edge like nobody else. Use your time wisely. Time management here. If you understand things in this position and understand what squares are covered, what squares don't need to be covered, if the knight moves, are we in trouble? Are you panicking here? You need to be in a better frame of mind here than your opponent, regardless of rating. These sorts of complicated positions are what I thrive off, and this is what wakes me up, puts me in the red and keeps me there happily. What comes after bishop e2? Good question. Here? Or do you mean in the mating line? Do you want to go through the mating line? We can go through that in a minute. I'll get to the end of this game because there are more tactics, and we'll go into that mate from pawn takes knight after this game, before yours. So here, he decided to take the bishop. I think that's the best move. B takes a6. Yeah, if you take the knight, oh yeah, you lose your king, which can happen over the board. Make sure you take a king if you take the knight. Yeah? The reason I'm doing that, have you started figuring out what to do if this? People blunder, don't they? People blunder. Can't take that knight, can I? Can I? What happens if this then? Bishop e2 by black. No! Bishop e2. Bishop e2. Ah, bishop e2. That looks terrifying. Queen c6 loses queen by pin. That's why bishop e2 to distract the bishop. Well, you say bishop e2 to distract the bishop. Yeah, I like your style. Someone can overcomplicate this position for themselves here and possibly lose, can't they? Yeah. The idea would be you just take that. And if queen takes here, or the, well, if pawn takes, again you need to start thinking, do you want to throw this check in straight away? But I like your move. So you take, alright? And this is where you've got to think, what do you do with this? And I think you'll figure it out. There's no way of stopping that, and if anything blocks, you've got back rank, so I'm not going to waste too much time with you there, lad. You're too clever for that. But you can understand that this position just gets worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. Yeah? And then you get the idea, you're just hitting him. So the bishop pair of death. He finds the best move. Right, so things get delightfully more entertaining here than they already are. So, takes, check. And figuring out what to do here is quite important. You've lost your light squared bishop, alright? He wants to start getting rid of this being a problem. As long as he can get this bishop out, he thinks the back row is connected. You know, people start thinking everything's fine. If he's already thought this piece is lost, or calculated that that doesn't help him, maybe it can come back at some point later. That's the last of his worries, is it? This is currently his worries. But if he doesn't understand the strength of this position again, then the big question is, what do you play? The big question is, what do you play? And I'll go to an NN game quickly in a second, because in an NM game, he played that, just trying to get his pieces out, which is a perfectly normal looking move, and in another specific position, that just completely lost him the game. It was extremely similar to this. So, black can't move any of his pieces out. He's effectively in Zeusfang. This is why that c5 move so early was so important. It's because these Zeusfangy positions mean that you can't actually move these pieces out. If this rook tries to get involved, there's always the threat of a back rank. If the bishop comes out, you're blocking the queen's activity to be able to get anywhere else. And you haven't really got time to start doing all this because the onslaught is too great. This queen on a4, importantly, covers the d7 square. So it's not an escape for the king whenever you do decide to throw the check in. Now, Bishop g4 and white black's toast. Yeah, so you exploiting that diagonal later on, when we've still got this back rank threat with nothing being able to block access to the corner. That pawn's not protected by anything, we just eat it. So here, I do make a slight mistake. I should play queen b3. So naturally, I'm out of book here, but I'm in a position where I'm perfectly comfortable, where I don't mind playing this sort of position at all. So I'm not panicky, I still think I'm quite winning here, and I start getting extremely creative. That wasn't the best move. More accurate, queen b3 check. Very important if you do follow this sort of line in the future. Queen b3 check. Still winning. Okay, the bishop's protecting the knight, we can see that. Yeah. Computer might have liked me taking a bishop earlier as well. Here. But I like this check. I'm on my own here, but I'm perfectly comfortable in these positions. So, queen check. King goes back into the corner. He wants to do some of this. He doesn't see any threats. He doesn't see any checks. He doesn't think it's a problem here. Now I recapture. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Who would you rather be? Yeah, down in exchange, but who would you rather be from a practical perspective? This is a complete whiteout, by the way. A complete whiteout. At no given point did he have an advantage. My blunder is going to come soon, and it's just leaving me in a position that's plus 1.3. It's hard to call it a blunder as well. Now, after all of this with the king in the corner, and he's finally settled, and he's gone out of the red, he's not in the black, he's calm, he's in the orange, he's in the yellow. Now he's starting to find the correct sort of moves, because now he thinks he's in a position where he can survive. Now he doesn't feel like he's got a knife to his throat, so now his brain doesn't have to use maximum energy in the red trying to fight me. Nor is he going to go into the black through panic, unless I can do the old Mike Tyson trick. Everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face. If I can hit him hard enough here again and make him panic, he will. He's only just recovered from it. Reapply the pressure. Queen comes up. Slightly inaccurate. Should have gone here, I think. Queen b6 plus 5. Same idea, plus 5. More accurate, better move. Okay, plus 1. Knight goes, rook attacks the knight. The king couldn't take it, by the way. So that was the more accurate move, but the whole point behind this is that the king couldn't take it. What happens if the king takes it, do we think? If you're still here's ledge. What happens here? White to move. What was the sequence I'd planned here? And it feels Morphy-esque. That's your clue. Queen c7. Not yet. Not yet. You got the right idea. But how can we improve what happens once we've played Queen c7? Yeah, you don't see the follow-up. Yeah, so Queen c7 here is not right. You need to improve the position by sacrificing another piece. If you're happy to do so. If you think about the squares the king can move to, once you've done that, it's only there, isn't it? Yeah? Bishop c5 question mark. Let's calculate it. Takes. Okay? If king goes there, there, or there, right? If he goes here, check. Looking pretty dicey. Yeah? Looking pretty dicey. Check. If he goes here. Horrible. Let's do that. Let's go into that. Here. Would you play here? This one. If he goes here, he gets mated, so we've got to go here. Ashley, hello. Welcome in. This is a game I had against an Italian FM. We're working out what to do in this position. Why did I hang this knight on purpose? Yeah? The whole point is if he takes the bishop, I go here. Oh dear. Oh dear. So that was my idea if he took the piece. Arguably a better try to make things more confusing would be there or here. And yeah, you've just got to grind him out. It's not as bad. King C7, I don't see people playing. I see most human beings going there. Queen B7 check. This is looking horrible. Horrible. And at the very least, if you panic, you collect the queen, don't you? But it's quite important that people don't panic and collect the queen. I imagine it's one of these two moves instantly. And you collect the queen at a later stage. Yeah. Or continue to checkmate him. But yeah, don't panic here. Don't panic here. I think that's the move. Then that's the move. I can make him give up. Oh, make him give up a queen that way. In the face. You see what's happening? Can you see what's happening here? Can you actually see what's happening here? What's that? Give me your queen. So you've got that option, haven't you? That's a line. That's a line. I'm alright, Ashley, thanks for asking. I'm just discussing this game, which I'm hoping gets voted Lee Chess Game of the Month for February. They're announcing it tonight, or they should be. So I'm hoping this is the one. So that's what happens. Bishop takes! If he takes back. Don't play this straight away and trade everything. Like Zledge says, you've got to play Queen C7, check in the face. Only move. Now we take. Boom. There's your follow up. There's your follow up, Sunbeam. So, rather than playing the more accurate move, Queen B6, protecting the knight, the idea was Queen here, and if he takes the knight with his king, which a lot of low rated players would do by the way, then yeah, Bishop takes here, with the idea that if he takes back, we win everything. And then you've still got a million passed pawns on this side in a queen versus bishop and rook, which can't move. Everybody still with me? I hope so, because that was a lot to take in. Back to the game. So, he didn't take the knight because he's an FM. Rook here. Looks like a good move. Plus 1.4. Anyone's game. Are you still comfortable in these positions? Let's find out. Knight goes here. Oh, also, I need an alert apparently, according to Twitch. If someone doesn't mind creating an alert for anything, use your channel points, anything like that. We just need to see if the screen gives people an epileptic fit or not. Hopefully not. Anyway. Right. That proves to me that I'm playing someone with an aggressive mindset who's also trying to reapply pressure to me. He thinks potentially I'm showing some sort of weakness here, or if this idea doesn't work, that I may be demoralised, because he's still got undeveloped pieces. And king there was most certainly not the move according to a computer. So you need to figure out why. But if you can understand the intention behind this move, if you can understand his mental awareness state, where he is on the white to black spectrum, what he's just done there is he's just re-entered the red. Yeah? He's gone from orange back to red. He's decided, I'm winning this game, I'm going to start attacking, I'm going to be the one to start applying pressure. Okay, I know how to deal with people in the red. You match it with better play. I'm winning, I need to find good moves. There's one of them. So he's trying to get aggressive and he blunders that. That's insulting. That's annoying. that will immediately change your confidence to panic. Yeah, that's the sort of move that if someone's immediately got aggressive, will immediately throw them back. Yeah, someone's just tried to throw a punch, you've parried, and now you've come over the top, and all he can see are your knuckles coming clean at him. Yeah, and now he's like, I can't dodge that. If I do what looks good there, that looks bad. Yeah, can you take that? What do you think? Is this acceptable? Is it winning? Did it make the position much worse? He went for queen c. He went for queen here, thinking about getting those other pieces out into the action as well. Yeah, taking that. Pretty horrible. Where'd you go? You go here? Pretty horrible. You can't do that. Yeah, people who panic go there. Yeah. What'd you do here? What'd you do here? Did you panic here as white? Honestly? If you would, it's fine, actually. This would probably be a moment where you'd panic. And all you really want to do is you want to click that button so bad while you're training. Just give me the answer, please. It's so hard to calculate. It gives me heart problems. This is what you need to work on. If you're instinctively going for this button, you're lazy. If you're instinctively going for this button, you don't enjoy chess. You won't enjoy these positions. You need to relish these positions. You need to want to work out what happens if I go here. What are his only moves? What happens if I go here? What happens if I just take this one? What happens if I go here with check? Yeah? You're a piece down. Completely winning. +4. Likely the move. Does your brain stop calculating there? If you saw that for a split second and you know that this is the move, does your brain stop calculating there? Even though a computer has told you that's the move, does your brain still not want to calculate it? Does it still not like the unpleasant feeling of a rook coming in front of your queen, so you immediately stop calculating the rest of that line? If it does, that's wrong. You need to calculate what happens if this comes up. You've actually got an immediate win. And I'm not trying to have a go at people. This is where people's mindsets stop them. Someone could be unfortunate enough to calculate here, here, oh, I don't like that, I don't like the idea of that, and then immediately reject the idea, not looking one move further. One move further, because the scary idea, no. You're too much of a panicky individual. You're too close to that mental state of the black in your attack. If you're an attacking player and you enjoy attacking, it shouldn't put you in that state of mind. If it does, that's why you're a defensive player. That's why you like d4 as an opening typically, because e4 is very fighty. It's very theory based. It's scary. e4, e5 is scary. The Sicilian is scary. The Scandinavian is warm and fuzzy. The London's warm and fuzzy. And despite those openings being extremely rich and deep, the meme is, it's for people that are experiencing these emotions that I'm talking about on a regular basis, so they wimp out and play that sort of opening. That's the meme. That's where it originates from. It's the mindset of the people that play those openings, not the openings themselves. Okay? So the opening can change, the meme can change, but the joke is the mindset that follows. And whichever opening becomes the safe opening, yeah? It's likely going to be the Caro-Kann, isn't it, after a while? What comes after Queen e4 with the idea of Queen b7? What comes after Queen e4 with the idea of Queen b7? What position, my friend, are you referring to? If you've got a move number, let me know the move number, we can go back to it. Ah, what happened here? What happened in the game after Queen e4? Is that what you're asking? What happened in the actual game after Queen e4? I'm glad that's off. Good. Right, so white to move. What do you play? I think this actually screams black's getting done in the face. with the idea of queen b7. So, yeah. What do you mean this position? Maybe. This one? You want it here? Rook d4! That's a very human move to be seen, isn't it? As is this. But yeah, devastating. Thinking he's clever? Nope. You got what you wanted? Good, I'm glad. Yeah, I took you through that line. Good. If that's what you wanted to see. Okay. We'll do that mate in 13 at the end as well. Remember that. Don't let me forget. It'll be good, won't it? We'll do it together. So, turn that off. Do that. For those who just joined, you can't take that because of this. Alright, so knight here. Knight here. Now I've woke him up again. Surprise! Unlucky. I'm also playing chess. Queen e4. So queen e4 still hasn't got time to get things going. Alright, that is not helping. That does not protect that square. Not sure what his escape plan is. Escape plan here doesn't actually work out for him very well at all. The game ends extremely quickly from here actually. And like I said to you, it was from this manoeuvre. I identified him going back into the red here. He sensed that I had lost some sort of advantage here. And he's right, pardon me, he's right, because I should have played queen b6. But I had an inventive idea, which he didn't fall for. That results in that. Alright, fair enough, he didn't fall for it. That would have been a much better position, by the way, if he had gone into it. So I'm hanging a piece on purpose to find a better position. If that's how you think, this is how you should be playing. Okay, knight here. Now he gets aggressive. Knight here. You want to carry on being aggressive? You want to carry on being aggressive? Carry on, carry on. Alright, queen here. Yep, you're now allowing this. Fine. Alright, where do you want to run? You want to run there? You want to run away? Is that your plan? Get off the light squares and run there? If that's the plan, and you're in his head, and you can predict that's the plan, I've got 9 seconds left here. If you can see that, look down here. 9 seconds, he's got 20. You need to win this. Don't panic. What's the move that's going to win you this game if you instinctively know his running away plan is there? Amazing. Thank you, Sledge. Right? He should give up his queen here because I am covering a lot of stuff. Yeah? He goes here. It's the most uninstinctive human move to play, isn't it? Because you're coming back into the fire. But it's the move that's required. You're coming back into the fire, into the corner you've just aggressively come out of. So he doesn't. He's always running that way. Boom. That's back rank checkmate, ladies and gentlemen. Knight d5. You know it. The best move in chess. Knight d5. And with 6 seconds left on the clock. BAM! Sucker bang! Just like that. So thanks for that. And let's move on. Let's go back to the mate in 13 from the knight c6. Boom! Knight c6. What happens if they take? Which one do we take, ladies and gentlemen? Which one do we take, ladies and gentlemen? And let's find this mate in 19 from here, shall we? What are we reckoning? That's the only move. Rook e8. Bishop takes a6, king there. That should be identifying checkmate extremely quickly. Here we go. King d7. It gets to about f6, doesn't it? It's mate in 13. So, right then, let's figure this out. Bishop b5 check. If he goes here, what do we take back with? I reckon queen.